Good morning, afternoon, and evening. You're listening to the Mad Tower Radio, Episode 2, broadcasting to you live from Whiskey Lima 9702-2668. My name is Dan, and as always, I am joined by my co-host Christian. How's it going, Christian?
It's great. 8 days and counting in isolation gets you thinking about some weird shit in your free time.
Yeah, it's been a pretty busy week for myself. Just confirmed a couple of hits with some of my buddies. I should say contacts in the SCP Foundation concerning a side project I'm working on, so shout out to those guys.
Yeah, I've mostly just been, licking wallpaper and reading about aliens and shit since there's nothing else to do with my life.
Well, I apologize. Someone's going fucking crazy out in the hallway right now. Are you done, bud? Alright. Oh, yeah, so would you like to go first this week? You want me to go first?
No, I'm ready to go first. Yeah.
Alright, let's hear it.
So this time we decided to flip the script. I'm going to take the conspiracy. Dan's going to take the Mantis Man.
Ooh. A little spoiler for you guys.
I've just been hearing secrets, just little tidbits of these mantis beasts all week, and I'm ready to go. But I'm going to start this off.
I have been teasing Christian all week with some of the wild stuff I've been encountering researching the Mantis Man.
That's just like the websites you find when you're looking for these things as your research takes you to these tragic 2006 cursed sites.
Oh yeah, it's weird. Like it's like going back in time, honestly. Like like those dated movies where they go on like a fucking website and it just looks like something you'd make in like MS Paint or something.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Every single website looks like that.
It's interesting you bring up going back in time. Because my conspiracy is the phantom time theory. Now, what comes to mind when I tell you about the phantom time theory to you?
What comes to mind to me when we bring up the phantom time theory? I don't know. I've heard some stories about like time loops, I guess, where somebody will be like driving down the road and then they come over the horizon and they see like a gold panning town down in the valley or something like that. Like ghost time, like a little like history ghosts or something like that.
Okay. No, this is a little more domestic than that.
Oh, okay.
So the conspiracy here is that the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III and Pope Sylvester II and the Byzantine Emperor. What's that?
The Holy Roman Emperor.
This is a grounded in reality conspiracy.
Oh, okay.
So Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and the Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII wanted to be in charge, or they wanted to be in power at the turn of the millennium, so 1000 AD.
Uh-huh.
But they were living in the 7th century, the 600s, as the theory goes. So they cracked this conspiracy to sort of falsify documents, change the dating system, and altogether fabricate about 300 years so that they could all rule at the turn of the millennium and have like this prestige and power associated with them.
What? Okay.
Yeah. An extended course of study.
The name Phantom Time Theory kind of catches you off guard with thinking there's going to be like ghosts or something supernatural, but you're telling me that they were all like, yeah, let's just skip a couple hundred years on the calendar so that we're in power.
So that they're the ones who are in power at 1000 AD. They found some like power in that number, some like prestige in their lives. So this is
the Y2K of the Bronze Age.
They wanted to be millennials, essentially. Desperately wanted to be millennials. Now, mind you,
boy.
Otto the Third is like 20 years old at this time. A 20-year-old emperor. And this theory is a relatively new one. It comes from historians in like the 1990s.
What?
This man named Herbert Illig started to think that certain archaeological evidence and dates and records didn't really add up that much. And he's a student of this man named Immanuel Velikovsky, who's insane. He's like, the planets crashed into Earth 100,000 years ago. Like, he thinks the Egyptians are lying about things, like a general historian nut job.
The Egyptians are lying about things. That
was
he
To,
racist?
you know, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt on that one, but safe guess.
Okay.
Herbert Illig believes that 614 to 911 AD never happened. He thinks those were the phantom dates added into our calendar, and that we're actually living in the 1720s right now, as opposed to 2020.
Really? Mm-hmm. Give me those dates again.
614 through 911.
That's BC?
AD. Anno Domini, in the year of our Lord.
Jesus.
That's the early Middle Ages.
Huh.
So in order to dig into this conspiracy, I thought I'd lay a little bit of groundwork about how calendars are fucked. Dating and measuring time is a fool's pursuit that doesn't make any sense anywhere you go.
Uh-huh.
So the issue in this phantom time theory is Herbert Illig's discrepancies with the change from the Julian calendar, which was introduced by Julius Caesar, to the Gregorian calendar, which is the one we all use today. And he says there's a little bit of an issue with that transition that doesn't make sense to him. So Julius Caesar, 45 BC, dictator of Rome, is like, this old calendar sucks. Doesn't make any sense. We have to add like a extra month every 3 years or something to sort of keep it on track with the season. So it wasn't like self-sustaining enough to make sure the months don't align with the seasons well. So JC himself says we're going to make a new calendar, the Julian calendar, and it has a pretty similar structure to ours today, like the 30 to 31-ish day months. They can add the leap day, I believe. But the problem is, nobody knew what the hell was going on in 45 BCE. Like, if Julius Caesar in Rome says new calendar, how do you tell the farmers and the peasants out in the fields all across the Republic?
Uh-huh. Oh, okay. I thought you meant like nobody knew what was going on astronomically, which kind of dictates the calendar.
Oh, I mean, the Persians and the Egyptians were amazing astronomically, like understanding to sort of guide with the moon as opposed to the sun, which is what the Julian calendar does. But all of 45 and 46 BC are called the Year of Confusion, because nobody knows what the hell day it is. No one knows what year it is. And Julius Caesar's like, listen, 45's 388 days long to get us back on track. Like, he's just adding days.
He's just adding days?
Oh, this... In my research, I was just finding out calendars have no meaning. Romans would just add days. They'd add months. They would just say, fuck it, we're not counting this month. Like, they would just do ridiculous things to their calendar.
We're not counting this month.
And all throughout post-Roman period, the pagans... and especially when Catholicism gets to mixing with our calendar, people don't really know when to make the new year. They either say December 25th, January 1st, March 25th for Easter. Like, everyone gets their own new year, everyone gets their own calendar, and it doesn't make any fucking sense.
The calendar wars.
And don't even... Okay. Before I yell about these months, can you tell me what an octagon is?
An 8-sided shape.
Okay, can you tell me how many legs a spider has?
I do believe it is 8.
8. Octo, right? We're in agreement that that's the prefix for 8?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, can you tell me what month of the year October is?
The 10th.
The 10th. Fucked up. Because Julius Caesar and Augustus had to have their own special months named after them, so July and August, and they just stick them right in the middle of the calendar, and they throw everything off. Like, December, Deca, 10, that's the 12th month of the year now, because Romans are idiots.
That's hilarious. I didn't even know that.
Horrid. Now it just pisses me off every time I think about a calendar. But the real issues begin when these sort of Catholic traditions start, and people want the same part of the year to coincide with Easter. And that brings us to the 300s with the First Council of Nicaea, where a bunch of Catholic leaders all across the empire come together to sort of get the calculations right, to get the traditions down pat, and they say, okay, Easter is going to be on this day or this time every single year. Mm-hmm. And that makes a need to allow the calendar drift to stop, because, you know, we have a leap year every 4 years now to stop calendar drift.
Yeah.
Which, the issue is, this calendar makes every year about 365.25 days on average, when in reality it's about 365.22. So they still have a little drift going on. And
wait, who still has a little bit of drift?
I mean, ours still has a little bit of a drift.
Do.
Every, I think, 3,000 years, our calendar drifts a day with its current system.
Oh, okay. So we're having like seconds on the minute drift.
Mm-hmm. So in 30,000 years, we'll be like a month ahead of what our seasons are with our current calendar system. So they didn't even fix the problem with the Gregorian calendar, but that's where Herbert Illig finds this issue. So Pope Gregory in 1582 says, listen, Easter's leaving the March equinox. We're not really making sense anymore. We need to make a new calendar.
Okay.
So when they do that, they have all these mathematicians and these astronomers come together to sort of calculate how they're going to make this work. And because of the issues with the Julian calendar, they were supposed to be 13 days off. So when Pope Gregory decrees the new calendar, he says, okay, everyone in Catholicism, today is Thursday, October 4th, 1582. But the church says tomorrow is going to be Friday, October 15th. So just deal with it, and we're going to be on track. We'll be good to go.
Oh my God. How many days of skippage is that?
Pope decrees 10 days of skippage.
10 days of skippage.
But according to their math, Herbert Illig's math and the Julian calendar's discrepancies, they were supposed to be 13 days off. So that's 300 years of drift that aren't accounted for. And that's sort of the core of his theory. So he goes
he thinks
on...
that we're 300 years off?
Yeah, he thinks Pope Gregory used this calculation and used his astronomers to correct it, when in actuality he sort of codified those 300 years that were skipped in the early Middle Ages.
Now, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you think that there were people that were like, hey, we're skipping 13 days? Your payday happens to fall within those 13 days? Sorry, man.
I don't think they were exactly paying people in the 1580s. I think we were still pretty deep in feudalism, but I'm sure it caused some problems. Well,
Yeah?
it was only for Catholic countries. So
Oh.
Protestants didn't do it. It took almost 500 years for everybody to get to the Gregorian calendar, sort of as it spreads throughout the world. People like England didn't do it until the 1720s. China and Russia
hell?
didn't do it until the 1900s.
What the hell?
Like, Saudi Arabia did it in the 2000s. Like, people are still getting on the Gregorian calendar. So it was definitely not a unified front. And there's reports, I don't know if it's true or not, that like even during the Napoleonic Wars, the Protestant countries were on different calendars and the Catholic countries were fighting together. So they said, okay, we're going to meet and we're going to do a joint attack on this day. And fucking Prussia doesn't show up. Because they don't know what day it is. Nobody knows what day it is. In the 1700s, you could sail
awesome.
from England to the Netherlands, and it's like 13 days difference because everyone's using a different calendar.
That's hilarious.
So that cuts to the heart of it, is that us trying to balance, control, and record time is a fool's errand. And why even bother? You know, because it's just self-interpretation.
Fair enough. Yeah, like, I was going to say, like, it's so... Not that it's arbitrary, obviously it has its use, but, like, a 24-hour period is just like a 24-hour period, you know? So, like, what... The only significance it has is what we give it. And, I mean, so does everything
one
else.
One loop around the
not
sun,
to,
yeah.
Yeah, not to sound, like, edgy or anything, but, like, a day, like, 24 hours, it's like... Like, I always wondered about the people who were born on, like, February 29th on a leap year. Like, oh, you only have your birthday once every 4 years.
Yeah,
no,
only 4
you
years
fucking
old or
don't.
whatever.
You have it every fucking year. It's just some days your birthday's March 1st.
You've got to pick. Pick one.
Arbitrarily.
Mm-hmm. But
that is actually really cool. I never heard of this.
Well, the core sort of narrative he's trying to say is that it doesn't really make sense that there are so many discrepancies with the math. He brings up how well Roman buildings are preserved in the early Middle Ages, as if a certain 300 years hadn't gone into wearing and tearing them, because there's wonderful manuscripts, documents, and descriptions of these Roman buildings who at this time, at 1000 AD, are 6, 7, 800,000 years old at this time. Now, mind you, the Romans can make some pretty damn good concrete, but
they can't keep track of time.
So, in order to find a little more information about this, I dug into Otto, Pope Sylvester, and Emperor Constantine VII's life. Now, Otto is a German Holy Roman emperor. And in order to become Holy Roman Emperor, you need to be crowned in Rome. He had already sacked Rome once and had appointed another pope before Sylvester II. He's had issues with Rome for a very long time. So by the time he installs Pope Sylvester, he's trying to find a way to, in my mind, solidify his power, to sort of break away from anyone else's control. And he's, mind you, 20 years old at this time. And the Byzantine Emperor Constantine is his daughter's betrothed to Otto III at this point.
Okay.
So it seems like there's a little bit of coinciding interests, maybe. To both be these millennial rulers at this time.
Yeah.
Now, in order to add a little bit more to his theory, he talks about the lack of documents from this era, which it's called the Dark Ages, the Middle Ages in popular culture, due to a understanding of a lack of culture or organization, when it's really kind of a myth.
Mm-hmm.
But all of this documentation, all of this literature from this time comes from a very specific social group. It's the monks, the scribes, who are not only beholden to the Catholic Church, but are beholden to their local rulers.
Oh.
So if Otto III and Emperor Constantine, and the Pope, the three largest power structures in Europe, wanted to pass down this sort of conspiracy that says, hey, we are going to maybe fudge these numbers a bit, all the documents, all of the history that we're writing about, we can add this large chunk of time, because history is only what we have records of, only what we can remember and understand. Like, who's to say?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know that? Okay, that was a bad example. I was going to say, how do you know World War II happened? But I'm going to cut that one. How do you know that the Panama Canal was built? What information do you have to back that up?
I mean, obviously I can go on the internet, see pictures of it, link you articles, but like, the only definite proof is if you go down there and stand in it, right?
Yeah, it's for a majority of the population, is what I'm getting at, is resources, information, articles, things that you will be given from a power structure. So if in the Middle Ages you go to Yond Church to have the priest read the Bible in Latin to you that you don't understand, and he says, yes, in the year 1655 this happened, and we pass down our history because this is what we know, who are you to question that?
Yeah.
But
okay,
that means in European history, 614 to 911, that skips some pretty important things, like the Viking invasions of England. That skips Charlemagne. And Herbert suggests that those were either made up, embellished mythical figures, or they used their understanding of what's happening now to rewrite what they needed to fix the time they were at now. They would rewrite the history to say, oh, this is how the Holy Roman Empire sort of grew in power. This is how Saxons and Danes were found in England. That they sort of fit the narrative to build the world that they found themselves in now, in order to make sense for the 300 years that were skipped.
That's actually fucking insane. So, Herbert's theory here is that, like, the Viking invasions and Charlemagne and all that good shit was, like, just made up?
Now, Herbert says that it might have been a fabrication, but I kind of interpreted it as these events may have occurred, these situations may have happened, but they fudged the timeline. They sort of added filler years, or sort of stretched out these events so that it would still make sense that Danes, Jutes, all of these Viking tribes were still in England, that power structures existed in France because of a king like Charlemagne, but he does suggest that Charlemagne was like a King Arthur figure, sort of a mythical king that builds this sort of French kingdom. Now, people who take issue to the phantom time theory say, well, what about the Islamic calendar? You know, Islam founded in 622 in the middle of phantom time, and they have a number of wars with Byzantium at this time, and they have their own recorded history. Or the Tang dynasty in China, who's keeping meticulous records, and they talk about 614 through 911, like those years happened in other parts of the world. Or a lot of people come to Dendrochronology. That's the use of tree rings to track time.
Dendrochronology.
Yeah, so like the trees are saying this time existed.
Than for what it actually is.
Yeah, I saw that first and I was like, what the hell does... Like, am I getting way over my head with this science biz right now?
Yeah.
So, in your mind, when I sort of bring this Eurocentric time skip, how does that land with Middle Eastern history, Asian history, African history still occurring?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
How does it land?
Like, does that sort of refute these claims just on a base level? Like, you hear the side that I gave you, and then I give you the first sort of argument against that.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. To me, it sounds like... Okay, to me, it sounds like what happened was they were like, yo, let's be the rulers at the turn of the millennia. It'll be fucking great. Like, let's rig the calendar. We're gonna do it. It's gonna be great. And then they were like, probably somewhere in the back of their heads, they figured they were just gonna destroy and pillage these other civilizations that had contradicting calendars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or at least subject them to their calendar. And, well, they tried to do it. They didn't... They couldn't spread the Gregorian calendar as fast as they wanted, so everyone under their rule bought it, but it sounds like everyone else, like, who reluctantly joined the Gregorian calendar, they were just like, whatever, man. Like, as long as you just stop, like, burning down my house, I'll follow whatever calendar
I'll tell you whatever
you
day
want.
it is, yeah.
You know, but these other civilizations that didn't go under the Gregorian calendar for so long, I think it kind of points that they just tried to pull the rug out from under everyone, and it worked for a while, but now we have, like, all these other calendars we can cross-reference with. I mean, and see that they probably didn't skip 300 years. Or, well, I mean, maybe they did. I don't really know.
Herbert Illig has converted a number of historians. People are starting to sort of take this historical revisionism theory to other parts of history as well. Like, how do we know Egyptian civilization lasted for 10,000 years before other civilizations interacted with them? These things where it's like, if only one source can confirm it, they start to be a little skeptical with it. And in this period, about 614 to 911, it's a lot of one source per civilization, which might have just been a part of the time. You know, not as many records are being kept at this time, but if you can see an event in the Islamic timeline and you can see an event in the Gregorian calendar, or the modified Julian calendar, that's where the issues lie, because Otto's still using the flawed Julian calendar. It doesn't become the Gregorian until the 1580s.
Damn.
There's a particularly confusing example Herbert likes to use to defend his case. He talks about the city of Constantinople. And that there are records in the 600s of it just beginning to be built. This sort of construction records starting. And records state that the city is not done being built until the 900s. And he seems a bit skeptical that it took 300 years to do these projects. Like, I know Illinois takes 3 years to fix a road, but I don't know if it takes 300 years to build Constantinople, is his idea.
That's... I mean, yeah.
Or in a more zoomed out sense, he talks about the lack of cultural, liturgical literature, the lack of growth in these fields, like cultural growth, documentation, literature, culture, theology. These sort of stand still in this 300-year period. And he talks about you can't fabricate 300 years of cultural growth if you're skipping it over. You stick to what you had known 300 years ago before the time skip.
Yeah.
So he's fighting the good fight. Much like last week, I did not spend the money to buy his theory book. I don't think Herbert's going to get me to buy his time skip book.
You heard it here first, folks, from Mad Tower Radio, and you'll hear it again from Mad Tower Radio. If you have the truth, don't lock it behind a paywall.
Yeah, please don't spend $7.99 to find out that the lizards are here, folks.
I'm going to tell you for free that the lizards are here whenever you're done. No, not to rush you or anything, but get ready.
No, I mean, that's essentially all I've got laid out. It's this... It, for me, came from a very believable place once I really dug into how stupid calendars are.
Yeah, like, I was like, what? We skipped 300 years? But then you were telling me about, like, the calendar wars, where it was like, you ask your neighbor, hey, what's the date today? And he's like, oh, it's 6/2. And you're like, what the fuck? Because you guys are using different fucking calendars or something.
Mm-hmm. I mean, some cultures, they now use two calendars. Like like Saudi Arabia, like I told you, uses the lunar Islamic calendar for religious ceremony, but they use the Gregorian calendar for business, for payroll, for civic duties. So there's still some calendar bullshit going on in this world today.
That makes sense.
The most calm version of that, you know, the solar versus the lunar New Year's, a couple months apart.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I guess I never thought about that. But I guess I just always was like, oh, it's cultural significance.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's essentially what it boils down to today. But that leaves us now at a point in, like I said, 30,000 years from now, when it's 1 month of calendar drift has happened. Would you be in favor of, like, calendar reform today? If, like, the governments across the world or the UN was like, listen, dudes, I know it's March 25th or whatever, but in order to fix our calendar, it's gonna be February 8th. Sorry, dudes.
Christ. I mean, like, it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but I'd just be like, oh, what the hell's going on? Like, am I getting paid again when it rolls over payday?
Do I have to pay
I would
rent
just be
for the Phantom
excited to
Week?
see. I would just be excited to see the admin hell that would happen if the government decided to do that.
Yeah, I don't think my phone can handle the calendar changing.
I don't know. It it reminds me of those primitive memes that you've been sending me all week, where it's like the I don't care if it's how you keep track of time, I'm not building a calendar.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna follow your rules, dude. You can't tell me what a calendar is.
Yeah.
I live day by day. Sorry. Sheep.
Honestly, I think we should just start from 1. The government tomorrow should just be like, hey, we're starting from 1, and we're just going to count the days till they go.
I mean, oh, you mean like day by day? Tomorrow's
like
1?
Oh, hey, what's the day today? Oh, it's 3,241.
Jesus Christ.
And that's the day.
I mean, you know, here in the lovely United States, we all agree it's 2020, right? All on the same page. People don't even agree what to call the year in certain, like, other cultures. Like, Roman years would be named after who was consul. You'd be, oh, it's Septimus II. That's the year.
Because it was Septimus's rule, so they were like, yeah, it's Septimus II.
Yeah, I mean, it's Japan
so
just
dumb.
had a new dynasty roll over, so it's Reiwa II in Japan. Like a new emperor was crowned, and that's how they used to track the time.
That is overcomplicating something as stupid as the date. in my opinion. Something as dumb and arbitrary and really only exists for like admin and logistical purposes is like, oh, we gotta name it after the guy in charge right now. Like, it's just so like that's so dumb to me.
It seems the best, at least in my mind, looking at all of these different examples of calendars. It's the people who strictly take it by astronomical events. They say, okay, equinoxes, eclipses.
Yeah.
Like, we can consistently track these events, so that's all we need.
I would be down for like a new calendar where the beginning and end of the year was on like the equinox, you know?
That would be cool. Like, the longest night of the year is the changeover.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Well, some pagan cultures used to do that. They would have the new year be at the equinox because it made the most sense to them, like this consistent astronomical event.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all we got is astronomical events.
I mean, we could go crazy with it and say the new year is every time Halley's Comet comes back, every 67 years.
Jesus Christ.
Now that's another issue with the theory is eclipses and Halley's Comet and these astronomical events come on a very consistent, unfabricatable scale. And according to the math, 300 years of phantom time would have ruined that consistency in the records before and after, but the records are clean. They're perfect. Like, buses came on time, Halley's Comet came on time.
Oh, huh.
So it's a couple of holes in his theory, but as with everything on this show, don't you just kind of want to believe?
I do want to believe. I want it to come out that we're actually in the 1700s and we can put on our tri-pointed hats, get some muskets that'll blow a fucking hole through someone. Tri-bladed knives will be legal again.
We're living in pre-Geneva times.
Pre-Geneva times, baby. That'd be pretty cool.
So, that's my gift to you today, is the truth. That we are in the 1720s. Grab your breeches, grab your musket, and let's get going.
No, I like that. You said phantom time, and I'm over here thinking about, like, Nostradamus and the Philosopher's Stone and the fourth dimension and shit. And then you're just like, no, the Romans were just really bad at admin. That was cool. I like that one. So, are you ready for the Mantis Man of Hackettstown, New Jersey?
So, I find it weird that this man has a house. Like, he has an address.
The Mantis Man? In Hackettstown, New Jersey?
Yeah, like, why is he so associated with this city?
You can ship him some stuff, you know?
So, who's the Mantis Man?
Well, he's 6 to 8 feet tall. He has a triangulated head and wide black almond-shaped eyes. And he's just a big mantis man. They seem to think he has some sort of cloaking power or invisibility. A lot of people theorize that the Mantis Man is an alien. So let me read you the first sighting of the Mantis Man. This comes from phantomsandmonsters.com, submitted by a user. He doesn't have he emailed the guy who runs Phantoms and Monsters, Lon Strickler. He emailed him and had Lon relay this sighting to us, so here we go. I've been doing research regarding an encounter I had about 5 years ago. Fly fishing on the the Musconetcong River in New Jersey, commonly called the Mekong River, so we're just calling it the Mekong from now. Fly fishing on the Mekong River in New Jersey with my boss, I saw briefly what I could only describe as a, quote, a praying Mantis Man. Although the water was clear, there had been heavy rains the past couple days. We should not have been out there. The river was smooth, but the current was exceptionally strong. I was leaning backwards and digging my heels into the gravel, but the river was still kicking me along pretty good. Sketchy navigating. Now this, I love this sighting when I was reading it the first time, because this guy, he's a little, what's the word? Cocky? Listen to this. Please know I am, quote, privy to the paranormal, and have always been. Shadow people, ghosts, whatever, but what I encountered that day was not spirit. It was, quote, biological, living creature. But it disappeared into thin air almost as soon as I saw it. For whatever reason, my searches at the time turned up nothing. But then I began to... Hold on, I can't read, apparently. But then by chance I came across an alien race type video on YouTube, and there in the artwork I saw what I saw. Ancient Mantis leaders. So when I began searching Mantis Aliens instead of praying Mantis Man, I found a lot more. They say they are interdimensional, whatever that means, but I did not get that impression. No, this creature was cloaked, and because of both my innate sensory perception skills and the particular physical circumstances at the time, parentheses, important. I can add details if you are interested. I just, quote, caught it. Movement out of the corner of my eye to my left, and there it was. Humanoid, tall, 6 foot at least, no reference points. But I sense 6'7". See? Like, you just add stuff like, but I sense 6'7". Like,
yeah, this dude's going full perception check on me. Like, he's... he trusts himself.
He's very sure of everything that he saw here.
Good. Good for him.
Moving away from me back up the bank, parentheses, I am chest high in the river. The first thing I see was the grasshopper thigh, but bending forward like a human, then the whole form. He is looking at me over his shoulder, moving up the bank, astonished, amazed. What, that I am in the water in a strong current, that I can see him?
Oh my god.
Yes, I'm sure the Mantis alien was very impressed that you were standing in the river in a very strong current. You're
He's
so
like
cool.
Flexing on these Mantis men real quick.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Hold on, we're not done yet. I get the sense that he can't believe I am in the water, that he can't believe I have seen him, that I am not perturbed at all. Something of all three I still don't know. Just astonishment, and he is actually trying to get away from me and the water. Oh my god. Dude, the Mantis Man thinks you're so cool, buddy. You are really cool.
Does he think mantises are afraid of water? Like that they're like hydrophobic creatures?
I don't know. Here we go. Continued. No, I did not tell my boss about this, who was in the water too, about 50 yards behind me at the time. Being privy to the paranormal, you just see these things and sort of go, okay, no fear, no nothing. But I do get the sense that my whatever attitude contributed to this creature's astonishment. Frankly, I didn't give the encounter much thought until recently. Oh my god.
So if you're cool, if you're blasé with the aliens, they just don't care.
Dude, he flexed on the Mantis Man. The Mantis Man was very impressed, very scared. He was like, that guy is standing in the water, and I can just tell from looking at him that he is privy to the paranormal.
This man knows the Shadow Man. He said so.
I guess. So this was in 2004?
Oh, these are the modern Mantis Men. Interesting.
Yes, the modern Mantis Men. Yes. So, it has some cloaking abilities, which that's pretty cool. It's like the Predator. But, so, unfortunately, that's the only sighting. I think there's one more, but I didn't bother reading it. That's the only sightings of the Mantis Man of Hackettstown, New Jersey. Right, so just like old Mr. Flex on the Mantis Man, I started researching Mantis Aliens, and I came across some crazy shit.
Okay, so are you telling me that the Mantis Man that this dude met is these Mantis aliens right now?
Oh, they're Mantis aliens, and some very, very lovely people from YouTube educated me on the subject.
Oh my god.
Yes, I started watching some Mantis Man videos, and it absolutely blew my fucking mind.
You know, if you want to dox me, go ahead, but I'm within driving distance of Hackettstown, and I've got half a mind to find this Mantis beast myself.
Do it.
So, what did the what did YouTube tell you?
Well, they told me definitively that they are either from Sirius A or Sirius B in Orion's belt.
Okay.
They're very high on the extraterrestrial hierarchy. Okay. Many eyewitnesses and abductees awake to find the mantises. They don't have an official name. They're just called the mantises. Many eyewitnesses find the mantises standing over their bed and say that they have a very looming presence. They mostly communicate through telepathy, but have been known to use auditory language. They have a positive, uplifting aura, and they are good-natured and have a desire to protect humans. Now, a lot of abductee stories say that they communicate and educate the abductees via these holograms, and these holograms show like the future destruction of mankind, and the Mantis Men are apparently trying to save us from ourselves.
Okay, I can get down with some space bug protectors.
Yeah, so they're not bad. They're chill dudes, you know. That's probably why the Mantis Man didn't screw with strong fly fishing river guy, you know.
Yeah, with the New Jersey fishermen, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably why he didn't screw with him, is because they have a very positive aura. But yeah, I was like, so I said last week, hey, I believe a conspiracy, so I'm not going to call anyone else crazy. But they're making it hard, and that's all I'll say.
Can you confirm right now that praying mantises are the most terrifying of God's land's creatures?
No, I'd have to give that one to the house centipede.
Oh god.
And I'm not going to put up a picture of it because looking at those things just fills me with fear.
Yeah, it's interesting that this person latches on to the praying mantisness of them, and not like these things we associate with mantises, like, you know, eating heads. Like, I thought these were going to be evil, like, brain-popping aliens, like a more stereotypical type. But finding out they're,
I expected... Oh, I almost forgot to tell you about the Dark Mantis Men.
What?
Yes. Yes.
How could you forget?
There are other reports of a subtype of Mantis Men that are evil.
Oh.
They are taller and have more humanoid features and very dark skin, and they have glowing red eyes. Many people believe that the Dark Mantises are trying to institute and research a mantis-human hybrid project. Yes.
I love that. Okay.
Yes, dude.
Have there been sightings of the dark mantises as opposed to the light mantises?
Just from abductees.
Oh, okay. Can we get an abductee on the call?
Testimony. I would love to get a abductee on the call. This just goes for the rest of the time that we're doing this podcast. If you would like to call in with any of your sightings and findings or whatever, you are more than welcome. Just let us know. But anyways, like I was going to say, back to the good Mantis Aliens. Another YouTuber that I watched, who shall remain unnamed, she communes with the Mantis beings all the time.
Oh, why? Why are you a gate to this evil?
No. Not the dark mantises, the good ones.
No, okay, I'm gonna say it first. If we end up in a society with humans and intelligent life forms, it's gonna be hard for me. Like, I like to think of myself as an understanding person, but I don't know the motives of these space beasts.
So you're saying you're gonna put the blamer to them?
I'm not committing to space racism, if that's what you're saying, but I'm gonna be space weary.
Okay. I mean, if you wanna go out there and do some XCOM 2 terrorism, you got a friend in me. I'll just leave it at that.
I'll remember that when the dark mantises come on my door. But what does this person commune with the mantises? What does she say?
She can't say anything to them. I don't know. She was talking about all sorts of magic, clairvoyant, envoyant, transvoyant, like all of those schools of magic that I've never heard of. She's mastered them, so it's really easy for her to just slip into a trance and talk with the mantis beings from Sirius A and or B.
So she's receiving transmissions from them.
Yes.
Okay.
One interesting thing to note is she said the Mantis Men have a sense of humor. Yeah, she says that when she communes with them, she doesn't know how gender works in their species, but they appear to understand how it works in our species. So sometimes she'll be communicating with a masculine presence. A masculine aura mantis who. But when she receives the vision of him, he's wearing like a woman's wig.
Oh. it's the Mrs. Doubtfire mantis?
I don't know, dude.
Okay.
So she educated me on all these schools of magic and how to communicate with the Mantis Men, and I tried for myself, but I think the techniques were entirely lost on me, and she had a lot of crystals in her room, and I don't have any crystals, so that might be part of why I couldn't commune with the Mantis Men.
It makes sense. If you're going to transmit like this mind gateway all the way across vast space distances, you're going to need something to amplify that signal.
Yeah, and I mean a crystal.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to do it. No, but the only crystal I have is the JO crystal. So I don't think that's any good for communicating with aliens.
They don't want to know that particular part of the human psyche.
Oh, well, if they want to integrate into our society and breed, they're going to have to learn about the JO crystal.
It sounds like she's giving vital cultural information to these mantises so that they're ready to infiltrate.
I know, but she has said that they have nothing but the best intentions.
Now, I don't want to be the one that discredits the expert, but how do we know the light and the dark mantises aren't working on the same side? Like two coins to this invasion, two sides of the coin, so to say.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
You got one fucking mantis shaking your hand and the other one picking your pocket? Seems a little sus.
We could just be caught in the middle of the Mantis Cold War. No. The dark Mantis Men are like the USSR. And the good Mantis Men are like the US, or flip-flop it, depending on what side of the political spectrum you're on.
She's like, yeah, I saw this dark mantis, and he took a bit of my brain, and then he had a Kalashnikov. And he's just getting that from our mind.
Yeah, when I beamed in to FaceTime the Mantis Men, he had an M16.
I don't know what that means.
They were playing something that sounded like CCR, but the vocalist was like a Mantis guy and just doing clicking.
Mantis Clearwater Revival.
Oh yeah.
So,
But the Mantis Man, dude, it's an insane little thing that I had no idea about.
it sounds like you found yourself quite a rabbit hole. But do these mantises have a goal? Like, are they trying to stop us from ecological disaster? Are they trying to stop us from AI assimilation? Like, what do they want?
It is specifically noted that abductees tend to see them in a overseer, leader, or diplomat role among the extraterrestrial hierarchy, because they are like, sometimes abductees report more than one alien being there.
Yo, if I could get abducted by the council.
Yeah, they report that like the mantis is commonly seen with like a couple of little grays.
Oh no.
That are like his henchmen, like his secretary.
Okay. Space bureaucracy.
I know.
So, if I or a listener at home wanted to try and commune with said presence, do you have any like tips? Like, did you hit like a stance? Did you hum a mantra? Like, how do I beam in?
So she had a lot of crystals, so I grabbed my JO crystal. I was like, fuck it, maybe it'll work. I put on the shortest pair of shorts I own, and then I just tried to I did like a power stance, I tried to stand with my legs as far apart as I could. In the middle of the room, I turned off all the lights. Now, I have no information for this, I just did what felt right. But I turned off all the lights, lit a bunch of candles, and wore my JO crystal, my pair of really short shorts, and nothing else, and just tried to do the really wide power stance. And then once I achieved that, I lifted my arms above my head and then cocked my wrists forward so that it looked like I had praying mantis claws.
No, I'm visualizing. You're in the pterodactyl stance. I get you. Praying mantis arms. Okay.
Yeah. So, because I figured maybe if I assumed the praying mantis's form, that would put me on the crystal frequency,
Mantis FM. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because I haven't mastered the schools of magic yet. Clairvoyance, transvoyance, climvoyance. There's 8 of them. I don't know. But on a serious note, I have no fucking clue. But this, I don't know. Have you ever had any experiences with aliens?
I don't really, nothing is extraordinarily coming to mind, feeling any sort of extraterrestrial presence. But, did I ever tell you about the black vans that were following me?
Oh, no.
I feel like I texted you one day and I was like, the fucking black vans are back.
You may have.
I, as a youth, worked on a golf course. Long summers, mowing lanes and tending to the fields and such. And during this time, I was getting interested, as you do, in cryptozoology, conspiracies, and these kinds of stories. And it was one particular summer when I believe a couple of us were starting to make headways. It's like that summer you first find H.P. Lovecraft and you're ridiculous for this kind of stuff.
Ah, yes.
And for 3 weeks, a black van would sit outside the golf course's property and just park there. And I would just cut the grass, I'd be just keep doing my biz, and it would just stay there. and it freaked me out, and it it really got in my head, and I'm usually the only one there early in the morning, so I don't know who the hell else they're surveilling.
So you thought you were getting gang stalked?
I thought I knew too much, and they were just keeping tabs. They were making sure I didn't, I don't know, tweet my discoveries. I don't know.
Did you ever notice who was driving the van, or was it fully blacked out?
Tinted. But
Ooh,
I stopped
scary.
like talking to my friends about this stuff. I stopped looking at stuff, and the black vans quit coming. So not much I can say besides keep your mouth shut. Talk in unlistenable locations is where you got to spread your conspiracy.
I guess we better make sure that they don't find this podcast.
It's okay. I can't go outside anyway.
Yeah, I guess. But I don't know. I've had like times where I'm looking up at the sky at night like you do. And I'm just like, I'm like, well, that's very obviously a plane. You know? But then there's sometimes where I'm like, I don't think that's a plane. That's just a moving light. You know? But I've never been like, oh my god, call the X-Files. They're fucking here, dude.
Yeah,
like,
I've never had a obvious extraterrestrial sighting.
Yeah, like I'll just stare at it for a while and be like, I don't know what that is. And then just move on with my night, you know? I've never seen like the crazy ass like orbs and triangular formations that are just like flying low and fast, you know.
And there's something to be said about people who believe, people who want to see this stuff are more likely to see this stuff, like psychologically. Like their brains seek it out. And let me tell you, I want to see this stuff, so where is it? Like I should be receptor number 1 to the alien transmat.
Yeah, where the hell is my abduction?
I'm getting kind of upset about it. You know, I'm not going to crack the code on night terrors on this episode, but maybe, maybe they get you in your dreams.
Yeah, that's what people say too, is like some of these abductees are like, yeah, no, I wasn't like abducted on a ship or anything, but I tuned to the right crystal soul frequency in my sleep. I mean, they don't say that without trying to be mean to them, but they're like, yeah, I have these like visions in my dream. And then, you know, that's you ever have a weird enough dream that you look it up online?
Oh, absolutely. I am a noted nightmare enthusiast.
Ah, you're also a noted nightmare haver.
Yes.
But these people probably have a crazy ass dream similar to that, and then they go online, research it, and then they find fucking hybridsrising.com telling them about the Mantis Man, and then they go on YouTube and they find like the fucking crystal soul frequencies and shit, and you know, it just keeps fueling these crazy dreams where they're brought aboard the Mantis ship and all that shit, you know what I mean? Like a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know?
Yeah, if you look for it, if you fuel yourself with it, you're just setting yourself up to be more exposed.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to make of all this. I definitely don't think I'm a believer.
I would keep a notebook with you at your bed and be ready to start writing in your dream journal. Is all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Your mind's like a floodgate. Like if you allow that in, if you open that up, you'll find it.
Oh, I definitely am like, I go through my day consciously just thinking like, hey, you influence your dreams. Like, so like, if you want to have good dreams, don't fucking think about anything bad.
Oh, you try to like plant your own seeds in your dreams?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, because my mom used to have night terrors, and she has a bunch of... My mom has a bunch of crazy ghost stories. I'll have to get her on the show sometime.
Yeah. I want some first-hand accounts.
Oh, she has some good ones, but she'll probably be like, I don't want to tell them. I don't want to talk about it.
She doesn't want to commit to the mad tower. So that she's going to
I'll
have
be like, Mom,
black vans in her
the
yard.
people need the truth. But, yeah. The fucking Mantis Men in the Phantom Years. That was pretty good.
So the moral of this story: keep your crystals ready, rip up your calendars, and
keep your crystals ready. Next week I'm going to be talking about the conspiracy that the Mantis Men are actually fabricated by Big Crystal to pump their stocks up.
Yeah, all the earthbounds you see in the shopping malls, they're in with Mantis people.
They are in on it. No, that's just a joke. But if you do want to communicate with the Mantis Men earthbound at your local mall, go talk to the cashier in there. They can probably get you started on how to commune with the Mantis Men and how to study and master all 8 schools of clairvoyance.
And if you really enjoyed this episode and you're excited for the next one, we will be releasing that on June 37th.
Alright, we'll see you guys next week at June 37th. Have a good week. Keep your eyes wide open. You have any closing remarks, Christian?
Next time you're in the garden, tending to your flowers, and you see a praying mantis on the hill, give him a little pat on the head. He's going to report to his boss, and you'll be in with the Mantis Men.
Alright, this is the Mad Tower Radio, ending transmission.